cruise. Dimitris.
Hi all. Hi Panos, thank you for inviting me to talk for the mental health of seafarers at sea, which is a hot topic nowadays, and probably the following days will turn to be a critical issue for the shipping industry. When we hear about mental health at sea, what comes on our mind is depression, anxiety, stress generally. I would like to share with you my experience and describe what and how big is the problem today. As I have spent many years at sea, I have experienced the difficulties of being far from family and the dangers of being at sea. The stress we have faced to be ready to cope up with unpredictable situation. We needed our senses to be alerted the whole time when on board. The stress to have a clear mind and be focused on the safety of the crew and the vessel. The difficulties in getting sufficient and quality sleep and rest, not only due to work, but also because of vibrations and noise. At the same time, we should be prepared to take fast and high-risk decisions based on our knowledge, experience, and sometimes only with our instincts. But we are prepared for the demands of our job, for the increasing monotony and loneliness. We are aware that the number of crew members on board has been reduced, and at the same time, more tasks are delegated to each of us. We have experienced fatigue. Maybe some years ago we didn't know this word, but we knew that it made us slow down our reaction time and reduce the ability to make decisions. We learned to live with a diversity of cultures, multinational crews with reduced ability to communicate with each other in a meaningful way, and the differences in cuisine and food taste. This is our job. We have faced the family pressure to remain at sea longer, to earn more money and continue sending funds home. The lack of the shore leave, the pressure from more frequent inspections and administrative tasks, and the higher commercial pressure from office ashore. Not to mention another significant cause of stress, the criminalization of seafarers. When a maritime incident happened, many actions against masters and ship officers have occurred for oil pollution incidents and resulting from being criminally prosecuted for accidents beyond their control. Seafarers criminally prosecuted for maritime accidents where there has been some negligence, even though such negligence is not considered criminal in the maritime industry. They are detained indefinitely within the country, bringing charges against them, held as, let's say, security or material witnesses till the ship owner or P&I club pays up. What can I say for the days that we are living and issues that we are facing daily with our seafarers? El Victor Group is a ship management and crewing company with more than 40 years in shipping. For sure, what we're facing nowadays cannot be compared with any other period in the recent history of shipping. The immediate demand for El Victor Group for crew changes will reach soon 2,000 seafarers. The usual rate of crew changes before the unforeseen situation of the global COVID-19 pandemic was from 200 to 300 seafarers per month. So you can easily understand the time that is now needed. If we say that from tomorrow, everything starts working as before, the global industry requires 300,000 seafarers to be repatriated. How much time is required to bring them back home? And how much time is needed for the shipping industry to be back in its normal operations? Are we ready to facilitate this high volume of crew changes the next month? Not yet. Are we prepared for the second peak of the pandemic? Every day, we talk to different embassies, consulates, port agents, port authorities, air flight companies to secure crew changes permissions, as each port has different procedures. I discuss with employees from all these organizations, and what I can understand is that many of them are not aware of protocols in force, or they are not prepared for crew changes. We know that it is an unforeseen and ongoing situation for all of us, and we need time to adjust for this. Of course, IMO and other organizations, IMEC, ITF, ICS, are trying hard to push for crew changes, but for the moment, crew changes have started to move very slowly. The previous week, I visited 2 vessels for supporting mentally the crew on board. The situation is critical. I met seafarers whom they have passed their limits. They are already burned out. The good thing is that for the moment, these cases are kept to less than 10%, which means that on some vessels, we may have 1 or 2 the most seafarers in this situation, out of 22 to 25, which is the total number of seafarers that are usually on board each vessel. Those seafarers need immediate attention, support, and repatriation. For instance, a crew member had a fight with a chief mate about the quality of the internet on board, as he blamed the officer that he was responsible for not communicating with his family. If I may try to provide you with percentages, 30% are happy to the extended period on board due to the additional salaries they will get. 50% of the seafarers worries and ask me questions about the possible time required to be changed. They seem to understand the difficulties and are patient. Finally, 10% shows strong emotions, is very stressed, and demands disembarkation the soonest possible. As I discussed with captains, they told me that this 20%, which consists from the 10% that need immediate repatriation and the 10% that showing strong emotion, is challenging to perform their duties or is unable to be requested additional tasks. Of course, we should take in consideration that all vessels operated on the total required synthesis. Therefore, captains don't have the luxury to relieve them from some of their jobs. Mental health is an issue that our industry didn't pay the previous years too much attention, and it had been noticeably under-researched compared to other industries. The global COVID-19 pandemic brought it abruptly at the surface. But why did the COVID make this? I will talk as a seafarer. If I prepared to go for a 4-month contract or a 6-month contract or an 8-month, my family and I are mentally ready for this period. The days after the agreement, service seems more challenging to pass, counted hour by hour, and especially when a repatriation is cancelled for the next unknown convenient port. This is what can make you break down if you are not so strong. And to use a fancy word, resilient, on how much you can bend under difficulties before you break. This is the reason that we at ElVictor Group evaluate our seafarers before their embarkation and select those who can cope under pressure, have above average self-management and interpersonal skills by completing a full psychometric test and analysis. ElVictor Group implement related training for our seafarers to be resilient and to learn how to deal with and reduce stress. We have 24/7 open channels of communication by phones, emails, and all social networks, and not only with seafarers, but also with their families. I can say that more often we discuss the concerns of seafarers with their wives and parents, and not directly with them. During these conversations, we are trying to make families aware that sometimes it is better not to communicate all problems to seafarers who are on board vessels. I can say that it's not easy to be a seafarer's wife. On the other hand, the easier it becomes for them to communicate with their homes, the easier the family problems rich seafarers who, in reality, cannot do anything except suffer. This is the reason why El Victor Group planning to organize special seminar for spouses and to provide counseling by a specialist family counselor. We strongly believe that communication and support are the most important measures that we should offer to our seafarers. They need to be informed. They need to know all our actions to bring them back to their homes. And they should trust us that we are doing our best to find solutions. Our masters got specific instructions to reduce fatigue by securing the maximum rest hours for all crew. We are trying to overcome the restrictions on shore leave by local authorities by using short pass leave for the crew while at ports so that they have the opportunity to change environment and rest a little their minds. We instruct our masters to supervise crew with mental health conditions until repatriation closely. Also, we ensure that food and leisure facilities on board provide quality and variation, as a proper diet and exercise assist in the prevention and recovery from mild mental health problems. One last thing that we may pay attention to is that seafarers who were ready to be embarked, but they are still staying ashore at the different cities, also far from their families and without money. I can share with you that we are getting more pressure from them as they are pushing us to be embarked on board our vessels. The problem, as you all understand, are more complex, and the need to stay healthy and supportive of each other is imminent. I would like to thank you for allowing me to talk about the mental health for seafarers while at sea, which is not a nightmare, but a challenge to understand our people, to be in their shoes as they stand on the front line of this worldwide fight. They deserve our full appreciation for their sacrifice. They are not just key workers, but the heroes of the global economy. I hope that, as Tommy mentioned, that we will keep mental health on the shipping industry's agenda and after the pandemic period. Thank you. I believe now it's Crystal can follow me.
Hi, and
thank you, Dimitris. Crystal, just a moment to make the right introduction of yours. Thank you, Dimitris, for this amazing talk. And I can recognize, as Victor, being an employer for seafarers, we've seen that you are doing a lot of initiatives for supporting your people mental health. But it seems that what you are doing is well beyond of compliance and well beyond of the requirements of the Maritime Labour Convention. But still, the problem is there. So there are many things, and the situation is very complex.